I was asked by the media when Labor announced their policy at our pub. The media wanted to talk to me, and they really just wanted to know why I had taken this so personally. What was my personal story? How had it impacted me? And I just thought it's so interesting. I didn't live in Glenorchy when I built Glenorchy Art and Sculpture Park. I don't do things to benefit myself. If we did that, there'd be no change in the world. So my answer to that is, if you understand the issues and if you engage with it, you must do something. You know, you really must do something. So I don't have a story. I've never been a pokey addict. None of my family have. They live in WA. They don't have access to them in the same way. But I do really believe in social issues and improving life, well-being, social equity and social justice in Australia. So, post-pokies apocalypse is, I guess, my manifesto. A post-pokies future is possible and beautiful. What does it look like in a place, in a country that doesn't have poker machines in pubs and clubs and in our suburbs?
Was that globally there's 241,000 poker machines in the world that exist outside of casinos, and 183,000 of them are in Australia.
Throwing up that, the way we tend to really think about who's responsible for something is we tend to divide it up like a pie, saying that one group is responsible for this much of the problem, another group is responsible for this much of the problem. Now, in terms of this topic in particular, what this sort of approach does is it tends to abrogate out responsibility a little bit. Yeah, the government's responsible, the pokies industry is obviously responsible, the bars and clubs are responsible to some degree, the users are responsible to some degree. But if you cut it up like this, suddenly everyone's not that responsible.
I think that the residents of Preston were so swamped with poker machines in every direction that they sort of thought, well, maybe more doesn't make a difference. And in fact, that argument that there were so many poker machines in Preston that more wouldn't make a difference was a key argument that the pub actually ran in favour of its application. They said anyone who could be harmed from gambling is already so exposed to poker machines that we can put in 30 more and it won't make a difference. And I couldn't help feeling that that's kind of saying when a community's down, it's okay to kick them a bit more because that won't make a difference. And I actually countered that by saying it's offensive to every person in Preston to suggest that because governments have systematically failed them in the past, that it's okay to continue to fail them.
We know that from the social and economic impact studies that the state government does every 3 years, that clearly demonstrates the cost this has on the health and well-being of our communities and the individuals in them, much, much greater than the tax revenue that the government receives every year.
Particularly thinking about the circumstances we're in, if you're not using your creativity in business, then you're supporting the status quo. The system that we're in right now is serving its purpose very well. It was designed to do what it's doing, which is, it wasn't designed for us to live within the bounds of the ecology, and it wasn't designed for human flourishing. It has other incentives built in. So for me, the work of our time is to apply as much creativity and soulfulness to redesigning the system as quickly as we can, as holistically as we can. It's an emerging space, what it means to invest in impact investing. What does that mean? It's being decided on the go. It can be quite subjective. To me, with the pokies, for example, I mean, that was a large business transaction, but I won't profit from the misery of other people. I won't profit from higher rates of domestic violence in any postcode that has poker machines. Now, the system at the moment, and balance sheets in particular, externalise all of that. They externalise suffering, they externalise environmental risk, they externalise community degradation, and that's how we get to where we are. So, for me, it's an exciting, creative challenge to think about how to use one of the greatest, most powerful forces on the planet the economy and money as a regenerative